Yo, what's good, guys? We are back with another video. The NBA season starts tomorrow, so that's why today I'm coming with you with my opinion on the NBA standings and who I think is going to end up where, man. Just make sure to like, subscribe, and let's get right into it, man. Let's start with the Eastern Conference. We're doing a tier list, right? Just make it simple. So, the Brooklyn Nets. I'm sorry to say, me personally, I got the Brooklyn Nets at the 11 to 15th range. I know that's not crazy, but I'm going to tell you now, I probably have them around the 12 to 13. Obviously, the Nets didn't have a great season last year. Won 26 games. This season, they have MPJ, Cam Thomas, got a bunch of rookies. I think maybe they can go up to like 30 wins, maybe like 35. I don't think they're breaking the play-in. So I got them to that like 11 to 13 range. That's where I got the Nets. Let's really get into the interesting teams. And Celtics. For me, I got the Celtics as a play-in team. Obviously, Jason Tatum's injured. They traded Drew Holiday, traded Porzingis, lost Al Horford. This isn't the 61-win team we saw last season. But they did add Anthony Simons, so they had in the end and lost them again. So this team, if this was in the West, I would have this team much lower. But because I think the East is kind of weak, I think they can still be a play-in team. I can still see them winning between 38 to 45 games, making that 9-10 seed or even higher. Maybe even higher. If Jason Tatum comes back, he's looked decent. Obviously, you can never know with the Achilles don't want to rush it. So that's where I have the Celtics. It's going to depend a lot on Jaylen Brown and Derek White. I think Derek White could potentially make an all-star team this year. Obviously, you're going to have Peyton Pritchard. They're an interesting team, to say the least. But for me, I just don't have them at the top tier without Jason Tatum. Obviously, that is a top 10 player in the league. Now we got the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks, I'm going to have as a top 4 seed. Ooh. The Hawks have made a lot, and I mean a lot of changes this summer. They won 40 games last season with Trae Young, and this season they've added Porzingis, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Obviously, Jalen Johnson's going to be there. They added Luke Kennard, Caleb Houston, and Dyson Daniels getting better, and Onyeka getting better, Richard Sharp getting better. They added Asa Newell in the draft. I really like this Hawks team. I think it's the best Hawks team we've seen in a while, especially in the Trae Young era. And the East, for me, is looking pretty open. I think the Hawks can surprise a lot of people with how good they are. I have them at 2 to 4 range. I don't have them number 1. I will be ranking them in each tier on who I think will be in each position. But for now, just in that 2 to 4 range, I really think the Hawks will surprise a lot of people this year. Next is the Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls have always been a hard team to predict. But for me, I have them above the Nets. I have them as the 11th seed, just missing the play-in. The Bulls obviously have Kobe White, Vucevic. They lost DeRozan and Levine, lost Ball. But they have Matas and Giddey, and those 2 white boys, they move me, especially Matas, man. I've been telling people before he got drafted. And he had that one bad season in the G League Ignite, and his stock dropped heavily. And I feel like people forgot he was ranked as the top prospect in that class before that season. And I think he will take that leap this year and will surprise a lot of people about how good his second season will be. But I don't think it will be enough for the Bulls to make that push yet. I think they need a proper number 1 option that they can rely on. I don't think that's KD. I don't think that's Kobe White, and I don't think that's Matas, especially not Patrick Williams. I do think they will be an average team. Last season, the Bulls won 39 games, made the play-in. I think they can do a similar thing here. They could, for me, potentially, I could move them up to this play-in spot. But for now, I'll have them at this 11th seed. Next, we got the Cavs. Cavs, for me, no-brainer, are number 1. They were the second best team in the league last year, won 64 games. For the majority of the season, they were the best team in the league. and I don't think any of the teams in the East are going to come close to them. If the Celtics aren't healthy, I don't think any team in the East come close to them. Obviously, they had injuries with Darius Garland, but I think even with Darius Garland missing time, you still have Donovan Mitchell, you still have Evan Mobley, DPY, you still have Jarrett Allen. You're still really goodly coached. Like, I still believe in that team. I don't think they will be as good as they were last season. I don't think they could hit 64 wins, but I can still see them in that 55 to 60 range. So I still do think they will be the best team in the East. Next, we got the Hornets. Hornets are one of these hard teams to rank, man. But I'm going to put the Hornets right here below the Bulls. But my thing, I think the Hornets can make a run to even 5 or 6. I think a lot of it depends on health. Obviously, LaMelo Ball, we've seen him. His knees do not work, man. Hornets won 19 games last year, with LaMelo only playing in 47 games. But we have seen when LaMelo does play, the Hornets have been a decent team. Not like a top team, but the one season LaMelo played over 50 games, the Hornets were a play-in team in, I think that was 22, and they won 43 games that year. And so I really do think if LaMelo's healthy, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, Colin Knippel, Liam McNeely, they have the pieces to be a decent team. Colin Sexton, they really do have the pieces to be a decent team. But that health is what's worrying me right now, that I can't put them up there definitively. But honestly, I might move the list around as I'm going through my thoughts. So right now I'm going to put them in the play-in spot. Next, we got the Pistons. The Pistons, I'm going to have right here below the Hawks. Actually, I'm going to have them above the Hawks. The Pistons, last season, had a great season. Had one of the biggest comeback seasons ever. They went from 14 wins to 44. They were the 6th seed last year with Cade. Cade led them to good, but Jaden Ivey obviously dealt with injuries. They lost Malik Beasley. They lost Tim Hardaway Jr. This is one of those teams that I think they're still going to be decent this year. I think Cade is going to make a jump, but honestly, I'm going to actually lower them to here because I don't think the team as a whole made that jump. I think Cade individually will make that jump. I don't think the team as a whole will get better, but I still think they will be a good team. I think they could potentially do something in the playoffs. Next, we got the Indiana Pacers, who are going here above the Celtics. They are in a similar position to the Celtics as they lost their star player to an Achilles, but I think better than the Celtics, they still kept the supporting cast, and I think the supporting cast is much better. You still got Siakam, you got Nembhard, Nesmith. Obviously, you lost Turner. You still got Isaiah Jackson, Jarace Walker, Johnny Furphy. I still think that is a pretty decent team. And even in the regular season last year, Halliburton had a pretty underwhelming regular season last year, and they still ended up as the 4th seed. So, for me, I think that Pacers team, even without him, will still be a pretty good team. They could potentially make a run for 5-6, but right now we'll have them to play. Next, we got the Miami Heat. Miami Heat, for me, are just one of those definitive play-in teams. I think they're one of those teams. Actually, I'm going to lower them to the 11th seed because I personally think this is going to be Bam Adebayo's last season in Miami. I think he probably gets traded sometime this season. Maybe he asked out or something, because I feel like he is wasting his talents in Miami. That team to me just isn't good. Last season, I know they had a lot of Jimmy Butler drama. They had some injuries, but still, they only won 37 games. They barely snuck into the play-in as the 10th seed. I can see them dropping. If a team like the Hornets jump up, or one of these other teams, I can see them definitely dropping. So for me, I'm going to have the Heat as the 11th seed. I just don't see them getting better than they were last season. But a team I do see getting better is the Toronto Raptors. I'm going to put them in this playing spot. I think the Raptors have a lot of just interesting pieces. They obviously only won 30 games last year, which is probably below where, I think if we're looking at the talent on the roster, I think that is below where it should have been. But this season, we're going into it. They have Scotty Barnes, obviously. They have Ingram. They still got Quickly, RJ Barrett, Grady Dick, Jakob Poeltl. They just drafted CMB. Like Ochai Agbaji, almost forgot him. Like they have like a lot. They just don't have that piece to carry them to any like top level of success. But they still do have a lot of decent pieces on that team. That I think to me they are like the definition of a playing team. Like they are a team that just is going to be mediocre. They're not going to be bad. They're not going to be good. They're going to be mid. I think I will put them ahead of the Hornets just because I think if I'm looking at them in their range of where I think they can come, I don't think their floor is going to be as low as the Hornets. I think the Hornets have a higher ceiling, so I'm just going to put them above the Hornets. Next, we got the Bucks. I'm putting the Bucks right next to the Pistons. Yes, the team is bad. Outside of the Giannis, team is trash. I know they sound both the Antetokounmpo brothers. They got Kuzma. They got Cole Anthony, like Miles Turner. The team just isn't good to me. Like, even with Dame last year, they only won 48 games. And I think this is a much worse team than it was last year. And it's going to be a lot on Giannis. He might even leave halfway through the season. If Giannis leaves, they're dropping all the way down here. But I think just by having Giannis, you're not going to be an under 500 team. And I think you can still probably win. Just with how, like, I'm looking at these teams, even just with Giannis, I think they are just better than most of these teams. So that's why I have them at the 6th place. But I can't see them being much lower. Next, I'm going to have the Knicks right here. For me, I think the Knicks for me are my favorite out the East. I think they're going to the conference finals. I think they are potentially going to the NBA finals. I think if they're healthy, they are by far the best team for me. I just trust them more in the playoffs than the Cavs. They obviously won 51 games, went to the conference finals last year. And this year, they look even better. They got rid of Tom Thibodeau, who I think was a problem with the rotation and some of the injuries, and I think it will be better this year. But I think regular season-wise, they might even drop some wins, maybe drop like 49 from 51 wins, 50. Like, I think they might coast a little just to have that playoff health that they haven't had previously. So I could see them being like even 4 here, by having 3 just above the Hawks, just because the Hawks are a little bit of a wild card. We haven't seen how that team meshes together, while we have seen how this Knicks team looks together. Next, we got my Magic. I have them as a 2nd seed. Magic, I don't think are a better team than the Knicks, but I do think they will win more regular season games than the Knicks. I think the Magic will finally have a above average offense. They haven't had in like almost 15 years. They were a 500 team last year, but they had a lot of injuries. Obviously, injuries to Paolo, Franz, Suggs, Mo. Like, Wendell Carter had a bad year. KCP had a bad year. Like, they had a just down season altogether. I think they will make a real bounce back with Desmond Bane, with Chase Richardson, Tyus Jones. I think this is a better team than it was if they are healthy. I do have them as a 2nd seed. Next, we got the 76ers. The 76ers are, for me, the hardest team in the NBA to place. They have such a wide range. If they are fully healthy, I can see them up here. You got Joel Embiid, Paul George, VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey. Like, you got so many good players on that team. Jared McCain. But when they're not healthy, they're in this range, right? We saw it last season. 24 games, they were not good. And it's just, for me, it's hard to predict on Joel Embiid's health. It's kind of like LaMelo Ball. I just think the pieces around LaMelo have more, like, I've seen more. But all the pieces around Joel Embiid, I've seen Paul George consistently injured. Jared McCain, haven't seen much of his NBA career because he's been injured. We haven't seen any of VJ Edgecombe. Like, they're just hard to play, so I'm going to put them, you know what, I'm going to put them right here. They can be up here, but just because I don't know anything about that health, I'm going to put them right here in that 11 to 15. You got to put them above the Heat. And then lastly, the worst team in the league, I don't need to say much. For me, it's going to be the Washington Wizards. The Wizards have a lot of players that are, let's say, intriguing. Not necessarily bad, just intriguing. Obviously, you have Cam Whitmore, who just went there. You got Trey Johnson. You got Will Riley. You got AJ Johnson. You got Alex Sark, Keyshawn George, Bub Carrington, Bilal Coulibaly. Like, you just have players who, like, you don't know how they'll all pull it together. And I think that is right now my problem with the Wizards. I just don't think they have an identity. I don't think they have a decently star player. They just have a bunch of players and they're waiting for someone to be that standout guy. And until they figure out who that standout guy is, I will have to put them as last. And yeah, that's my list for the Eastern rankings. I'm going to drop another video with the Western rankings. So just stay tuned. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you agree, disagree with. And I'll see you real soon. Peace.